Hi, Crystal.
Hi, Ingrid.
So,
Long time no see.
no time no see.
So we're going to talk about bars because bars needs its own conversation. Access bars.
Yeah.
32 points on your head, where when somebody lightly touches them, either makes you feel like you had a great day at the spa or your whole life changes.
My body just went like,
Is it time?
relax.
Okay, so tell me more about your first experience with bars. Was it like life-changing or did you need multiple sessions? Tell me more about that for you.
Okay, so how did I find bars or my first session?
Both of it, just all of it. Yes.
Okay, so like I shared, when I realized that I had different capacities with the spirit world, I was
The spirits
looking
led you to
for.
bars? Interesting.
So
Okay. Sorry.
I asked for a modality that will, this is what I asked for. A modality that it's already out there with tools
Yeah.
around this that is more that can actually create change, because there were many that I had been studying that it was very interesting, but it was not complete. At that point, I have been a therapist for I think 10 years, so I kind of knew that there are certain elements required in order for something to really change or work. So when I saw these other modalities and they were just focusing either just on the energy or just, it was fun because it was my witchy me going out to play and realizing, wow, I'm different. I have these capacities that exist. Wow. But also when it comes to the session giving results was the part that I kept searching. So I was asking for a modality that was already out there, that had all of those elements that can actually provide change or create something like that it works.
Yeah.
And then that it has a little bit of structure, so it wouldn't be so hard for me trying to put all the pieces together and see if it works. So that it had been out there for a while.
Yeah.
That it would be fun. So I had this ask, and I was in a meditation trip. And they asked for a wish to this mountain. I think it was Mount Shasta, something.
I know Mount Shasta well.
It was in Mount Shasta. So it was a meditation trip, and they said, go to this part and ask a wish to the mountain, something. Now I understand it was me asking the universe for not just mountain, the entities and the whole universe. I was so next day they contacted me with this class, and they told me that I was talking about bars the whole trip. And I was like, well, I have never heard that word. So obviously I remember my ask, and I was like, maybe it is related, so let me go and check it out. And I had my first bars class.
You took bars class before you had a session?
Yes. Amazing. After that, that trip, my friend called me like, there's a facilitator here called Elma. Like, her name is Elma. She's in Tijuana and traveling right now around the world, right? But she lives close by, and she was gonna be in town. So my friend called me like, she's here. Do you want to go in and have the class? She's having a class tomorrow. So I think next week, something like that. So and it was just what I wanted.
That's amazing. Yeah. So I love so many things about that. For me, it was like I was definitely asking for something, but I didn't know what I was asking for. I just knew, well, okay, that's not true. So I was far, so, oh my God, where do I start? So 2 years prior to finding bars, I had worked with a lady that did this BIE modality. So it's like bioenergetic intolerance elimination, and she was a nutritionist. And I found her at a time when I was really, really suicidal, really emotional, like really, really bad off. And I had 2 to 3 sessions a week with her for a while to start feeling stable again. And it had been working. Like, it was up to that point, the most effective thing that I'd done. Well, then I kind of got my feet under me, and my husband and I were doing better, and we chose to move farther away from her. So she was like 3 hours away instead of 45 minutes away. And so I didn't really get to see her that much. Well, then that husband and I separated, and so not only was I far from her, but I was all by myself, and I was working this job that was very alone. So I was just very alone. And I was starting to feel that familiar kind of panic anxiety setting in about like not feeling stable anymore. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Literally. So, at that moment, you're just pulling megatons of energy. Like, what am I going to do here? What else is possible? Scrolling on Facebook one day, I ran into an old friend from Bible school, like way back, who we just lost touch. And she was one of the people I vibed with. She was so cool. She's actually still in Access Consciousness today. Her name is Marnie Barenko. She and I had gone through Bible school together. Anyway, I was like, oh my God, Marnie. And then I looked, and she had Access Consciousness listed as her employer. And I was like, what is that? And it like pulled me in, and I just Googled and couldn't figure it out, and finally found a facilitator near me 2 hours away. And I emailed, and I'm like, can you help me? Like, what is this thing? And I said, where do you start with this? And she said, well, you can start anywhere. You can start with a class, you can start with a session, and what's light for you. I ended up having a session, and she was a certified facilitator who ran my bars. And most of the time you just receive a bars session, but I had so many questions. So she processed me with the verbal tools and ran my bars at the same time, which was so lucky, because I got off the table after a 90-minute session, and I was like 10,000 pounds lighter. I was so different. And it was so life-changing. And so I went back and had 4 more sessions, and then I finally chose to take a bars class, but I only took bars because I wanted to get to foundation. I'm like, what are these verbal tools you're doing? Like, I want it. So for me, bars was kind of this side door, like last resort. Okay, I'll try it thing, because I really wasn't a bodywork person, but I was also at the end of my rope, and it ended up changing the entire future of everything. Yeah. Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's very different for everybody. Do you find that everybody's kind of got different experiences?
Totally. It's different for everybody. The tools might be the same, but the experience and what they will let go, or change.
So you guys are more than welcome to join me for a class. If you've taken bars before, then but of course every bars class is different. Every facilitator is different. If you've already taken one class, you can take a repeat class to work towards your bars facilitator license, or just because you like bars. But it's like one of my favorite. It's such a subtle, dramatic gift to your life, bars.
And it's just 1-day class, and you learn the bars, you receive the bars twice, but also there's other tools.
And again, like any Access Consciousness class, your questions stimulate what can come out in the class. So you can bring all your questions to bars class too, and see what comes. So love it.
So if you're interested, you'll be
February 16th in San Diego. Yep. And also in the future, like accessconsciousness.com/accessbars will get you in touch with anybody who's doing bars around the world. And there are so many people now that are doing bars. Like, it's really, it's becoming a thing. Yeah.
What else is possible? Okay, Crystal, see you in a bit.
Okay.